Today we're going to talk about the danger of trying to time the real estate market. Let's get to it. So here's the thing, everybody wants to be able to predict the market and time the market. And here's what happens, you either win or you lose. But if you want to guarantee long-term wealth, don't try to time the market. Get on the roller coaster, get on the ride, and stay on it. Here are two examples. One big example was in the 2000s. People tried to time the real estate market, and a lot of folks sold real estate in 2002 and 2003, thinking that the real estate market was in a bubble, and the only way to make money was by selling now and then buying when the market fell again. But here's what happened in that example. Unfortunately, according to an investigative report by the Security Exchange Commission, a lot of the people who sold planning on the market falling in 2002 and 2003 ended up rebuying in 2005, 6, and 7 when the market was at all-time highs because of the simple factor of FOMO, fear of missing out. They had sold, they missed out and wanted back in because the market just kept going up. And those were the people who got significantly hurt. Here's the thing, nobody wants to be in the hole, so everybody's constantly worried about falling into the hole and wants to prevent falling into the hole. But let's give another example right now to see, hey, wait a minute, what's happening here and what do we think will happen in the future? Now we're gonna go meet Graham Stephan and Mike Rosehart. Here's the thing, between November 2017 and February 2018, Mike Rosehart sold 11 out of 15 properties, not only because of concerns with tenants and units, which you guys already know what my thoughts are on tenants and big units and turnover and headache and hassle, but he primarily sold them because he was worried that the real estate market was going into a bubble. Now that spring has come and the market is not in a bubble, Mike has some financial regrets that maybe he felt pressured to realize some of his gains, because it's a very common saying in society, well, you haven't made any money until you sell, and if that kind of forces you into selling and then you miss out on the opportunity of more market appreciation, you also miss out. Now, of course, could the market fall and could you be the hero that made the best decision to sell at that perfect time? Yes, but low odds. You're better off staying on that roller coaster and riding it out through the ups and downs, and you almost always end up ahead. How's the money counting going? Here with Mike and Graham, and we're kind of trying to, organize a little bit here, our table, and check this out. A realtor came by to give us a flyer. There he goes. There he goes. He was like, almost like, should I not, should I? He was a little concerned. What drug activity is going on? Yeah. We should have said you didn't see anything. Yeah. We should give him a stack and you didn't see anything go. I'm wiping my nose. Here's the other problem. When you constantly think about when should you sell a property and then you actually pull the trigger on selling a property, you have to pay selling costs. And the bottom line is, selling costs often cost you 6 to 7% plus possible tax implications. So realistically, selling gets extremely expensive. If you just hold a property, you don't have to deal with those constant selling costs, and then usually what people do is after they sell, they get bored and they want to buy again. There's a black squirrel eating a peanut right here. Big black squirrel. Not only is it expensive to sell the property, but if you're gonna go to rebuy the property, you gotta pay buying costs as well. You gotta get loans again, loan fees again. You got a brand new loan, which isn't as far along in the amortization schedule, which means you're paying more interest up front than if you just kept the property you had. So if you're gonna sell, you better have a plan for something that you really wanna do with the money. So for example, if you were gonna sell and 1031 exchange into a much better deal, that's fine. I'm all for that. But to sell and sit on cash, bad idea. It's expensive, and then when you rebuy, it's expensive again. But not only that, this is the kind of gutter I need in my Tesla for when it rains. So here's your next reason, inflation. When you cash out and you have a bunch of money sitting on your dining room table that does you nothing but look pretty, especially in Canadian dollars when it's all a bunch of different colors, you're losing money because of inflation. If you just had a property and you had your asset tied up, at least you'd probably be appreciating at a greater rate than the rate of inflation, which means net, you win. In addition to that, inflation benefits people with loans, and usually on your real estate we recommend you have a loan because the loan becomes cheaper to pay off. Great trick. You lose that with paper money, and that time you're sitting around, you're just losing money. It looks cool though, I'll tell you that. Here's the bottom line. The market will fall at some point, but if you try to time it, you're making yourself lose more money than if you just stayed on the roller coaster and rode the waves of the ups and downs. Look, it's not that big of a deal. The Great Recession, single family houses lost in good quality areas, not slummy areas where you get better cash flow. Quality houses lost maybe 27 to 35% of their value. That's a lot, don't get me wrong, that is terrible over the period of a recession, but that's all come back. And if you're into real estate for the right reasons, which to me, the right reason to be in real estate is long-term ownership, owning for 15, 20, 30 years, you almost always come out ahead because the next bottom, historically, is not as low as the previous bottom before it. Hey, don't wait to buy real estate, all right? You gotta buy real estate, and then you gotta wait. Well, come on, you want to buy some real estate. You need a house. They just want units. Jeff Wybo's standing outside his club. Well, I gotta go see it now. This is an 1881 property. It smells like the Titanic. Oh wait, I've never been on that. It smells like an 1881 property, which is actually like a really kind of cool, like, it feels good. It actually
out of your little, what's her name, Jack?
$530,000, but it has some special terms with it. It's all cash. Wow. This is a good news call. I'm feeling good about it. Let's just ask for an extra $2,000 on top of that. Let's go $9,400. We sent it in, and they signed it.
Oh my God.
Congrats, man.
You're awesome, Kevin. Thanks, man.
Oh, those are the good phone calls. Howdy, Boomer and Kevin. I think a big danger with the whole society and culture of, oh, you should try to retire as soon as possible and just do nothing is, I don't think people are realizing, well, wait a minute, if you set yourself up for that, in some way you do also set yourself up for another lack of fulfillment. You're really no longer trying to create something or build a legacy, you're creating the opportunity to do nothing. That oftentimes creates boredom, and then what do people do? They spend more. That's why people say when you save for retirement and then you finally retire, oh wow, all of a sudden you're spending so much more because it's boring. You gotta do things. You wanna travel more, you wanna do more. Oh, you should retire by the time you're 30 and live on $14,000 a year isn't the best idea, and instead, like, hey, get out there and hustle, at least for your family and yourself. I don't want to say that having the boredom and the freedom to do whatever you want is a bad thing, because look, if you can cover all of your expenses with passive income, cash flow, and all that good stuff, that's great. I don't want to be sort of construed as saying that that is bad, because it's not bad. More of what I'm trying to say is, if you can invest money and continue to catapult it, rather than cash out and walk away from your investments, if you can catapult those and keep growing them, maybe you could, instead of having a mediocre retirement, but you're retired, you have an amazing retirement. The other thing people tell me is, oh, well, I want to quit my job and then I'm going to invest in real estate. Honestly, I think that's a horrible idea. I was a law enforcement explorer for 3 years with 1,600 hours on the road, and I would have loved to have gone into a W-2 paying job where I could have started using that W-2 income, which is a steady income, a salary, or a payroll, and use that to qualify to buy more investments. You should use your W-2 job, especially if you're working 40 hours a week, 45 hours a week, 35 hours a week. There are a lot of other hours to do a side hustle or to invest in real estate, but don't give up your primary source of income. You should be milking that.